details. So today we'll be looking at biological molecules and diversity. Okay, biomolecules for short. So biological molecules simply means biomolecules. So we'll be looking at biomolecules and diversity. Okay, so introduction to biological molecules. Biological molecules, they are essential compounds found in living organisms. Okay, so hope here is our pen and paper, right? Because most of the things we'll be teaching, the slide is just something you can look onto, probably like a summary. So most of the things I'll be teaching, you should be writing them down as well. Okay, so when we speak of biomolecules, biological molecules, first of all, we are dealing with what life. And say biology simply means what study of life, right? So when we talk about biological molecules, are talking about molecules pertaining to life. So you can also see that what biomolecules are are the building blocks of life. Now, why are biomolecules called the building block of life? Biomolecules form the basic structure, and then they perform the necessary functions as well, responsible for growth and development, and also maintenance of a living organism. Let me come again. I say that biomolecules are they are referred to as the building block of life. You can't see my screen. Are you see my screen now? Please, someone just hope you guys are hearing me. Someone use the chat button. Are you
Yeah,
seeing
we
my
can see
screen
your
now?
screen. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I was saying biomolecules are they are the building molecules of life. They are the building block of life. So when we are talking about them, we are referring to them as a special molecule that helps to carry out life functions. Are you hearing me? So now their study is actually one of the core aspects of biology, as they are involved in every process. Biomolecules are involved in every process of life. Okay, so there are four major classification of, let's say, types of biomolecules. Number one is carbohydrates, lipid, proteins, and nucleic acid. There are just the four of them: carbohydrate, lipid, protein, and nucleic acid. So biomolecules they help the cell to perform their basic life functions. Just like carbohydrates now serve generally to provide energy. Also, they are found in the cell membrane, as we've seen this night. Proteins, as we all know, proteins function as enzymes. Protein help. The basic thing we know about protein from secondary school is that proteins helps in they help in body repair, right, and building muscles. But also, protein serves as enzymes. Protein serves as cell recognition. They perform in signaling. Okay, so lipid also serve as storage form of. They serve as energy supply as well in longer terms. All right, and nucleic acid, they are generally concerned with storing genetic information. So if you look at these molecules, you see that most of the things they do pertain to life. Without them, actually they are the building blocks of life. So without them, you can't say that the cell itself cannot efficiently perform the life functions.
Excuse me,
Hello?
sir. Please, that lipid, you said lipid is what?
Hello?
Lipid, the function
See,
of lipid. Function
okay,
of lipids, sir.
all right, I heard you. I say that lipid they help also to provide energy, but in longer terms. Lipid are also cell signaling. They're also found in the cell membrane. Don't worry, as we go on, I'll tell you more about it. We'll be learning all of them this night. So now, biomolecules are also called macromolecules. Why are they called macromolecules? Macro means something that is large. Macro is what? Large. When you hear macro, what should come to your mind is large, big. When you hear micro means what? Small. So biomolecules are also macromolecules. And they are primarily what? 60 carbohydrates, carbon. They are consisting of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, Some of them can contain nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. But the basic elements that form them are what? Carbon, that's carbohydrates. Okay, so let's start with carbohydrates. So carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are what? Organic compounds composed of carbon, hydrogen, and water with the molecular formula CH2O, all times by N. So they are what? Composed in the ratio 1:2:1. Carbohydrate, you can just call them what? Hydrated carbon. That's how I used to remember them, okay? So they are composed primarily of what? Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in the ratio 1:2:1. So other things you can also take note is that what? Carbohydrates are what? Carbohydrates are also what? They can form polymers. I think we should take this step by step. We have gotten this part right. Carbohydrates are what? Organic compounds, basically made up of three elements: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Also, carbohydrates can be classified into types. Now, there is something, if you have your pen, please write this down. Carbohydrates can be classified into two broad types: simple and complex carb. Simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. So monosaccharides and disaccharides come under simple carbohydrates, while polysaccharides come under complex carbohydrates. So I'll come again. Say that carbohydrates can be classified majorly broadly into two types: simple carbohydrates and what? Complex carbohydrates. Monosaccharide and disaccharide comes under simple carbohydrates, whereas polysaccharide come under what? Complex carbohydrates. I believe you have written them. Okay. So now, why are they referred to as simple carbohydrates? Simple carbohydrates. Most of anything that is simple is not complex. Okay, so anything that is simple, it should be like it is made up of probably in this case, just made up composed of one or two what sugar molecule. Now look at the diagram by your right. This is a typical sugar. This is called what? Sugar saccharide. And this is a typical monosaccharide. Are you seeing it? So now this is actually what? A glucose molecule. So first of all, simple sugar, simple carbohydrate, they are what refers to as simple sugar. Why? Because they are consisted of what? One or two sugar molecule. This is what? A sugar molecule, a glucose molecule. Okay. So there are three types of monosaccharide. Number one is glucose. Number two is fructose. And the third one is what? Maltose. Sorry, third one is galactose. So glucose is a sugar most of us are familiar with. Fructose can be also what called fruit sugar. Fructose are they are the sweetening you find in fruits. Now, galactose are also called what? Milk sugar. Galactose are also called what? Milk sugar. Alright. So disaccharide. Saccharide are composed of two monosaccharides linked together by glycosidic bonds. Are you hearing me? Are you guys still with me?
Yes, sir.
Disaccharide. Alright.
Yes, sir.
So okay. I'm saying disaccharide are what? They are kind of like they are what? Two sugars, two simple sugar linked together by glycosidic bond. What's a glycosidic bond? Okay, let's take a break here. Let me introduce something to us. First of all, biomolecules are what? Mostly polymers. When I say polymers, that is they form long chains. Poly simply means many. That MER means what? Part. So biomolecules are mostly made up of many parts, the exception of lipid. But lipid is still a macromolecule, but not a polymer. So since biomolecules are polymers, it means that there are are made up of what? Smaller units. Now, these smaller units are what is called monomers. Mono means one, ma means part, right? So monomer means what? A single part. So when these monomers come together in large numbers, they form what? Polymers. I will see together. So I told us first of all that carbohydrates are classified into two, right? Simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. So a simple carbohydrate, they are just made up of what? One or two sugar molecules. They're also called monosaccharide. Mono, one, saccharide, sugar. Hope I'm not too fast. Let me slow down a bit. So
You are fast,
now,
sir.
okay, let me slow down. First of all, biomolecules are polymers. They are made up of what? Many repeating parts. They are made up of what? Many repeating parts. Now, this repeating part is what is called the monomer. The monomer is like the what? A unit. Now, let's use a building for example now. When you are building a house, at the very end, you will now see a very big structure, a very beautiful house. Let's say a two-story building. But at the initial part, what you have is just a what? A single block. So when you bring several blocks together, lay them on top of each other, now this block grows to an height and you call the block what? A wall. But at the microscopic at the unit sense, it is just a single block. But when you line the single block and stack it upon each other, it what forms a unit, and you now call the unit a wall. And when you bring several others, you can use it and construct any structure you want. Are you with me? So at the very end, the structure you have is called a polymer. That is a house. But at the very beginning, what you had was what? A single block, a single cement block called the what? Monomer. Are we together? Okay. So now carbohydrates are classified into two. We now looked at carbohydrate, that is one of the biomolecules. So we said, okay, carbohydrates are what? Also called sugars. Now, carbohydrates are classified into two. Number one classification is the what? Simple. Let me take us back there. Oh, it's not written here, sorry. Number one classification is the what? Simple carbohydrate. The other one is the what? Complex carb. So under simple carbohydrates, I said they are referred to as simple because they are composed of just one monomer or two monomers. That is one sugar molecule or two sugar molecule. So the one consisting of one sugar molecule is called the what? Monosaccharide. Are you still with me? If there's any confusion, you can call me back. So the monosaccharide are what? Glucose, fructose, and galactose. And now we entered the disaccharide. And so the disaccharide are now composed of two monomers, that is two monosaccharide, joined together by a glycosidic bond. So when you bring and bring a monomer, and then it undergoes something called a condensation reaction and loses one molecule of water. The two of them now merges to form a unit called what? A disaccharide. That is two sugar molecules. Hope you are still together. So when you bring glucose now, a glucose molecule, and bring another glucose molecule, and then two of them will undergo a condensation reaction, what you are going to form is what? A maltose. A maltose. So maltose is what? One of the polysaccharides. Sorry, it's one of the what? Disaccharide. Okay, let's say now bring glucose and bring fructose together. So when you condense the two of them together, what are we going to form? We're going to form table sugar, which is called sucrose. Now, when we bring, okay, let's combine the other two, galactose, when we bring galactose and combine with glucose, we will now form what is called milk sugar. That is lactose, the sugar found in milk. Are we still together? So there are three types of disaccharide. Number one, sucrose, lactose, and maltose. So these are the three basic type of disaccharide. Any question up to this point or any confusion? Okay, so let's move
Please
on.
come here with the combination of those sugars, those simple sugars to give us, those simple monosaccharide to give us the disaccharide.
Disaccharide. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so I was saying Now, first of all, there are three monosaccharides, right? Three basic monosaccharides, right? Glucose, fructose, galactose. So when two monosaccharides combine, any two of them combine, they will form what? A disaccharide. So when you bring glucose together and bring fructose and combine the two, they will form what? Glucose plus fructose will form what? Sucrose. When we bring lactose and combine it with glucose, it will now form what? Galactose. Sorry, when we bring galactose and combine with glucose, it will now form what? Sucrose. Okay? So the last one was when we bring glucose and glucose, it will form maltose. I not repeat that. So now let's move on to complex carb. Wow, time is flying. Jesus. Let's move on to complex carbohydrates. Now, complex carbohydrates are made up of what? More than one monosaccharide linked together. They can be made up of, let me just say, they are made up of what? Two monosaccharide now. Are made up of more than two monosaccharide linked together to form polysaccharide. Are we together? So complex carbohydrates can also be called what? Polysaccharides that are made up of what? More than one monosaccharide linked together by glycosidic bond. So in complex carb, we can be having up to 100 simple sugars linked together by monosaccharide. I don't know. Okay, let me use this example now. You can see most of us have been to the village. You can see how simple village fence, that's fence in villages are. Probably a small compound and then a fence will link it, right? That fence can be called what? Let's call that single fence linking a compound, a monosaccharide. Each compound in some villages, each compound has their own fence for demarcation. But if you have seen this movie called The Great Wall of China, you see how long that wall is. A wall that holds what? Runs miles. Are you with me? A wall that runs what? Kilometers. That wall is very long. And it's made up of what? Several monosaccharides, several blocks linked together by cement, which in this case is glycosidic bond. Now, this very long wall formed what is called a polysaccharide. Poly means more than one. Okay? Let me come back to the roots. We have simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are made up of what? One or two simple sugar. Complex carbohydrates are made up of what? Many simple sugar. More than 100, more than 2, more than 10, more than 50, more than 100 linked together by glycosidic bond. So in this sorry, one thing I want you to understand is that what links sugars together is what? Glycosidic bond. There are monosaccharides, there are disaccharides, there are polysaccharides. Now, examples of polysaccharides include starch, cellulose, and what? Glycogen. If you have your pen, you can add the fourth one, chitin. Chitin, it is spelled Chitin. Chitin. So starch is what? Also called plant polysaccharide. It is storage form of energy in plants. Are we together? Starch is the storage form of energy in plants. Glycogen is also can be also called animal polysaccharide. It
Please,
is
I
the
can see
storage form
your
of.
screen.
Are you seeing it now?
I'm seeing it now. Yes, thank
You
you.
are seeing it now. All right. Okay. So starch is also called what? Where was I? Starch is the energy storage form of what? Sorry, starch is the what? Energy storage form of carbohydrate in plants. Glycogen is what? Storage form of carbohydrate in what? Animal. So glycogen can be found in liver, in muscles, while starch can be found in foods like potato, corn, and rice. So the third thing there is what? Cellulose, right? So cellulose is what? The carbohydrate that is found in animal cells. That is, it is found in cell wall of plants. Cellulose is found in what? Cell wall of plants. Now, lastly, the one I added there was chitin. So, chitin is what found in exoskeleton of arthropods. Chitin, not chicken, please. Chitin is what found in cell walls of arthropods. It's also found in what cell wall of fungi. Okay, so function of carbohydrates. Number one, which is the primary function, it provides energy. Example, glucose. It is also what serves as storage, just like starch in
At least this
plant.
storage function of the rest that storage function of
Hello, sir.
glucogen,
Your screen is not
all those storage
changing from color.
Hello?
somehow I get it, sir. I said those storage forms of starch, glycogen, and the rest. It's only cheating I got very well.
Okay, so I should reiterate that point, right?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so listen. I'm saying that starch is a what storage form of storage form of glucose, that is sugar in plants. When there is too much sugar, that is when there is too much glucose in plants, the plant converts them to what starch. Okay, let's paint this picture now. First of all, I told us that complex carbohydrates are made up of what very long repeating monomers, which is what glucose. So when the plants have excess glucose, when the plants have excess sugar, it starts merging those sugars together to form a very long wall. So the pattern is used to merge them. The pattern is used to form that long wall in plant. It's what is called starch. All right. So if it's in animal body, when humans eat food and the food finally that is carbohydrate and the end product of carbohydrate is what glucose. When there is so much glucose in the blood, the human cells start what merging those glucose together to form long molecules called polymers. Now, the pattern they arrange that glucose will give us a new molecule called what glycogen, a macromolecule. So the storage form of glucose in animals is glycogen. The storage form of glucose in plant is starch. Is it clear now? And finally, cellulose. Cellulose is what? The component of cell wall of plants. It tells plant maintain its what? Shape, rigidity, and the rest. Okay? So I hope it's clear now, Ba.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Alright. So I think
Sir,
someone
please
else
add
was asking
something. Your screen is not. Yes, your screen is not changing. It's still on carbohydrates.
function.
It's on
I said
function,
your
but it's not showing
yes.
clearly.
Wait,
Not
is it
showing
on
what you are
function?
saying. Actually. Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry. What I want to say now is
It's
what?
on it's on
That
function.
function. Alright. So there are four basic functions of carbohydrates. Number one is energy provision. It provides energy. When you eat carbohydrate, it digests, and the end product is what? Glucose. That glucose is what your cells will utilize to produce energy. Number two, storage. When you eat excess, it's stored as what? Starch in plant and glycogen in animal. Structural form. In plant cell walls, the this thing carbohydrates form the what? Cell walls of plant. That is cellulose. And the last thing is what? Cell signaling. Is actually for higher class. So in cell signaling, something called glycoprotein helps in what? Cell to cell signaling, even cell what? Communication. So we are now moving to the next macromolecule. And wow, you have gone 33 minutes into the class already. So let's be fast. But as much as we can understand, please, if I'm too fast coming back, the point is for us to get these things, okay? That's why we are taking our time. So lipid. Lipids are what? Hydrophobic molecules composed mainly of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Most of everything you will see in macromolecules are carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Now you can also add somewhere, lipid can also contain what? Phosphorus. Example, look at the image by the right, you will see phospholipid. Now that lipid there is containing phosphorus. Lipid can also contain what? Nitrogen. All right. Okay. So what do you mean by lipid are what? Hydrophobic? When you hear lipid are hydrophobic, what do we mean? Have you ever poured have you ever put sugar inside water? What will happen? The sugar will dissolve and melt in water. That sugar molecule is hydrophilic, water loving. It can interact with water and
Sir, please
what?
excuse. You see
Dissolve
that they can. Sir, please excuse. They said they can also contain phosphorus and what? Sorry.
nitrogen.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I was saying lipid. I was trying to explain what is hydrophobic. So lipid are what? Hydrophobic molecule. That is, they are water insoluble. They cannot dissolve in water. And I was giving us an example of water soluble substances, something like your what? Sugar, your table sugar. When you take your sugar and put inside water, what will happen? It will dissolve. That your sugar molecule is what? Hydrophilic. When you bring salt, table salt, pour it in water, next minute you no longer see that salt. That salt is also what? Hydrophilic. It is soluble in water. But lipid is water insoluble. Example, have you ever mixed red oil and water before? Have you ever managed to dissolve to dissolve butter? Yes. Have you ever managed to dissolve butter inside water? These are examples of what? Lipid. Also, there is this peculiar characteristics of lipid that we call amphifatty. Amphifatty. AMPHIPATHIC. That's to say that lipid can also have characteristics of what? Hydrophilic substance, and can also what? Behave as hydrophobic substance. That's, they have both hydrophilic and hydrophobic properties. Okay.
Sir, please, sorry. Like, can you go back to what you were saying? Like
All
you
right.
said.
So
Sorry.
I should repeat what I just said right now. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was saying that lipid also exhibits a special characteristic called amphiphasic. That is, they're amphiphasic in what? Nature. And I spelled it as AMOPHIPATHIC. That is, they also what? Can behave as, lipid can generally behave as what? Water loving molecules, and also what? Water heating. Wow. So that means they have both hydrophilic properties and hydrophobic properties. Now, for example, look at this image by your left now. Now, the one titled phospholipid. You see my screen right back. Now, this one marks phospholipid. That blue top is called what? The hydrophilic region. That's the head region. These two tails you are seeing now, these two fatty acid tails, is called the what? Hydrophobic region. So now this is the picture of a cell. Now this cell, a section of this cell, are you see what I'm pointing at?
Yes, sir. We are
Are you
seeing
guys?
it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
So
sir.
now a section of this cell is what is enlarged at this point now. This point now. So we now enlarge this point to take a closer look at what these lipids are like. So when you do that, you understand that, look at the up part now, you see some blue circles up, and then inside there is this thing like what? The two tails. Okay, so this up part now is what hydrophilic region. The hydrophilic region is what is going to face the what water part. That is what this is actually for
Hello,
higher
sir. What you are
classes though.
trying to explain?
Eh? Hello?
Okay, what you were trying to explain, you it off now. I can see it. I was not seeing the screen
Okay.
of what you are trying to explain.
All right, you can see it now, ba. All right. Okay. I think okay. What I'm trying to explain to you guys, I used to forget that you are about to enter university, right? Let me know the class I'm dealing with. I asked a
Yes,
question
we
actually.
are.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
don't worry. It's when you enter school. I actually went deeper than your than knowledge you need now. So what you should bear in mind is just that they have both hydrophilic and hydrophobic property. What I wanted to explain is what you'll be doing in your second year, not even first year. So we'll leave that for now. So there are types of lipid. Okay, we have what is called triglyceride, then phospholipid, and steroid. Now look at the image by the left. Cooper in university already. Okay, so that's your year one, right? Fabulous. You in your year one.
Yes, sir. Like this, our year one. Then by next semester, we'll be in year two.
Okay, okay. So if that is by next semester now. This part I wanted to explain will now explain it for you guys. All right, it's fine, no problem. Thanks for the information. So let me know the level of knowledge I will be sharing. So now there is something I want you guys to take note of. The basic, see, first of all, lipid they are what? They are not called polymers, but they are still made up of what simple elements. Alright. Other molecules are called polymers because they are made up of what? Units called monomers. They are basic units called monomers. But when you come to lipid, lipid are not made up of what? Monomers. No. They are made up of basic elements yet, but they do not form repeating units. I just want this to sink first. Let me come again. Monomers make up polymers. Now, how do monomers make up polymers? They form a repeating unit. That's okay. Let's use this: one plus one plus one plus one plus one plus one. Oh, until you reach 100, will now form a what polymer. But when it comes to lipids, yes, there are very big molecules, but they are not made up of what repeating units, just like this one. Now, in carbohydrates, we'll start from one and we'll keep adding one together till we reach 100. But in lipid, we can now start from a molecule that has up to 50 and add it to another molecule that has, let's say, 20, and add it to another that has 30. Together, it will form 100. So it is not as if it has a unit, just like in carbohydrate now, the unit is one. You keep adding one to form 100. If you still want to reach 200, you will not start adding two. You will keep adding one till you reach 200. So that one is unit. This is, for example, two. Let's say now the unit of carbohydrate is two. For us to make 100, we will keep adding two to it till we reach 100. But when it comes to lipid is not made up of what? Repeating monomers. No. You can what? Bring an element that has 50, bring another that has 30, bring another that has 20, and you form a lipid. But then, the basic structure, the building block of lipid is what is called fatty acid. You by you one, right? So this knowledge is very relevant. So you can add it. It is what is called fatty acid. So fatty acid are the what? Building block of lipid. If you look at that picture again, that yellow tail is called a single yellow tail is called what? A fatty acid. Two of them are what? Two fatty acid molecules. I think I will have to stop here now. Let me not introduce glycerol and the rest. Okay. So lipid, examples of types of lipid: number one, triglyceride. Tri means three.
Oh,
Glyceride
please,
there.
sir, please wait. How can I take this question? Please don't be angry. You said lipids are
No
not
problem.
called polymers because they are made up
Yes.
of they are made up of because they are not made up of units. Am I correct?
Yes, they are not made up of repeating units. Repeating is the key
Of
word.
what? Sorry. Okay, repeating
They are not made
units,
up of
but they're made up
repeating
of.
units exactly. Their building block is
Okay.
called the fatty acid.
Okay.
Any other question?
Sorry, because they are not made up of repeating units, but they are made up of basic structures. Am I correct? Don't be angry.
The building block of lipid is called fatty acid.
Yeah, I have that already.
All right, that's just the building block. That's the basic block.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So the next type we have here is what? Phospholipid. Phospholipid. So okay, for your triglyceride, you can add triglyceride are made up of what? Three fatty acid. Are made up of what? Three fatty acid joined to what? A glycerol molecule. That is why you see triglyceride. For phospholipid are made up of two fatty acid molecules and a glycerol and this is still deeper knowledge though. God will help us. So types of lipid. Number one, triglyceride. There are examples, fat and oil. Let's stick to the basics first. Number two, phospholipid. Example of phospholipid are what? Sorry, where you can find phospholipid is what? Cell membrane. Now, if you look at this image here, the one I marked red, that is a cell. The more dark blue stained part inside is the nucleus. Now, around the outer boundary of that cell, a portion is enlarged to show you what the composition of the what cell membrane. In the cell membrane, what we are seeing there is what phospholipid molecules. So phospholipid form the what cell membrane of what? Are you hearing me? Phospholipids form the what cell membrane. That's their basic function. Then the third type of lipid there is what? Steroids. Steroids are used to what? Form cholesterol. They also form hormones in the body. This part is clear, right?
Yes,
The
sir.
Hello, sir.
functions of I'm
Example
listening.
of triglycerol is what?
Fats and oil
Okay,
is in the slide.
thank you. Then the phospholipid.
So phospholipid on its own. Okay, example of phospholipid, phosphate. Don't worry, it's not needed for yourself. But you have
Okay,
phosphatidylserine. No, those ones are big words. Is in your second year you will see them. So for now, you
okay.
should know that what you should know for now is that phospholipid form the what cell membrane. When you talk about types,
And
you see
steroid.
phosphatidylcholine. Hmm?
Sir,
Steroids
please,
are
can
used
you
in making.
increase your steroid
Are you
is
hearing me
what?
now? Steroids are used to
Increase it a
making
little.
hormones.
Steroid
Are you listening?
I'm listening, but I'm not getting your volume to my own area. In my own area is very low.
Okay. Do you have are you using earpiece?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So let me try and increase my voice. So I was saying steroids are
I
used.
can
The
hear you.
basic function of steroids, they are used in making what cholesterol and hormones.
Okay,
Well,
thank
I
you.
should discuss this in function. So functions
Sir,
of
but all these things you are saying, I'm not seeing it in the slide.
yes, I'm speaking from higher knowledge. Okay, it's just things I
Are we
know.
going to get the voice notes in what you will upload for us?
Yes, the class is being recorded. You can watch the
All
class.
right, all right, all right.
Right network. Hello, are you guys hearing me?
Yes.
We can
Hello.
Yes,
hear
I
you
can
now.
hear
Yes, sir.
you.
All right, because my network just went off. Okay, so functions of lipid, long-term energy storage. Lipids are what long-term long-term energy storage. Now, something you should note in case of seeing this in your objective questions. Carbohydrates are used for what? They are the primary storage of what? Energy. And I was giving an example. Now, when lipid provides energies in cases of glucose, example, you are starving in school. There is no foodstuff ran out. You use your last rice to throw what? Mini party. And then you guys finish eating,
So
thinking
please, can
exam
you like
what
switch
end.
to your slides? Like we're not seeing.
You're not saying anything concerning what you're talking about, please.
Look at the first point there. Lipid is what? Long term of energy storage. Are you seeing it there?
We can't see it. No, we are not seeing it. We're not seeing only just the people that are like you're just sharing your skin, and we are seeing
We
just the
can
ones
see,
that are on call. We cannot like
some of
I
us
think
can
that's
see
I
network.
think it's
lipids
from your. I think it's
function.
from
We
your
can
own
see it now.
end. Should be
It's
from
from
your
your
end.
end, that's
Yeah, we can
network.
see lipids function.
The drawing is faint, very very faint. You can't see the write ups there, the names and
No,
the.
no, no. Don't
Then
bother
you
about the
have to
drawing. The
zoom.
drawing is don't
If you want to see the drawing, you have to zoom.
the
Can as
drawing
well
is
as zoom
what
it.
that's organic chemistry. Okay, so
we
I
can
was
see it
explaining
very well
long-term
now. I can
storage of
see it.
energy. Thank you. That's your network then. So second function of lipid is what? Insulation and cushioning. Normally, fat and oil is what? It helps in what? Cushioning and what? Insulation. Insulation from heat. Someone like me that is very tall and very slim, I'm wearing sweater now because even wind self can carry me, right? So, but when you see someone that has fats and is what? Study, that kind of person, even when the rain is falling, the person will still go and on fan. Why? He or she has excess lipid. He or she has what? Very much lipid. So that lipid what? Produces heat, insulation. Okay. So the third part, it plays a structural role in membrane. I told us that lipid form what? Cell membrane. Now the last part, they helps in what? Hormone and vitamin synthesis. That's a function of what? Steroids. Steroids helps in producing hormone. Hormones like estrogen, testosterone. So let's move on to the next one. Protein. So what's our protein? Someone's mic is on.
Yes, sir. Sir, please, I cannot see the screen well.
You're not seeing the protein.
I can't see any. Okay, I can see it.
All right. So we are looking at protein
So you
now.
went too far. We can just see protein functions. We cannot see the beginning of the protein, please. Like you went too far.
No, actually that's the beginning. Protein structure and components. So just listen to the explanation.
You went. I can see lipids. Lipids function. I can see protein.
Your network. Are you seeing protein structure and components now?
Yes, I can see it now. Yes, thank you very much. Sorry for stressing you.
No problem. All right. So proteins are large complex molecules. When you hear complex molecules, which means they are what? Polymers. So proteins are what? Polymers made up of what? Amino acid. So the building block of protein is what? Amino acid. You can also say that what? Amino acid are what? Monomers of protein. Are you seeing the three words I use? Building block, monomers, unit. So either of these three can come out in an option. Any of them. They can ask you that is the unit of protein. You will see amino acid there. You will see fatty acid. The answer is amino acid. Dash is the monomer for protein, amino acid. Dash is the building block for protein, still amino acid. So there are what? 20 standard amino acids found in human bodies. That's why it is written here. Proteins are made up of what? 20 amino acids linked together by peptide bond. You can use your pen, write it and underline it. Carbohydrates are linked together by what? Glycosidic bond. Proteins are linked together by what? Peptide bond. Now, structural levels of protein.
Stop! Please don't be angry. Can you like repeat what you said? Come on. Can you like go back? Sorry, don't be angry. I beg you.
Don't worry, I'm not angry, okay? I'm not angry. So, wow, 9:57. Okay. So proteins are what? Linked together by peptide bond. Amino acid are linked. Sorry, proteins are linked together by what? Amino acid are linked together by what? Peptide bond. While carbohydrates are linked together by what? Glycosidic bond. So structural levels of protein. Proteins are arranged in what? Different structures. We have four basic structural level for what? Protein. Probably in that around that area two, they will not tell you it is five. They will not add quinary structure. So the first structural organization of protein is what is called primary protein. Primary protein. So in primary protein, we have the amino acids there. Okay, God help us with this image. Are you seeing the image by the right, by the left? Mhm. Now you see circle parts. Now each circle there represents an amino acid. When you arrange the amino acid in a line or in a just you arrange them linearly, it's called what? Primary structure. Okay, primary structure. So now the next level of structural arrangement is called secondary structure. Secondary structure. So secondary structure form alpha helix and beta sheet. So in secondary structure, the proteins what undergo what covalent bonding with each other. Covalent bonding with each other. Just know that for now, just know that there are two types of secondary structure: alpha helix and beta sheets. Okay. Now, the third structural arrangement is called tertiary
So
structure.
they form
So in
what? Secondary
hmm,
protein form what?
secondary structure, look at the slide, you see two things there. They form alpha helix and beta sheet. Tertiary structure. In tertiary structure, the protein now undergoes what is called folding. The protein undergoes what is called folding. So it's now folds into a 3D shape. That D there means three-dimensional shape. So the protein folds into what? A three-dimensional shape to achieve what? A function. Now, the folding of a protein gives it its function. Just bear this in mind. As you advance higher, there will now be a spelling deeper parts for you. And the last part is called quaternary structure. Quaternary structure. So in quaternary structure, different polypeptide chain, different polypeptide chain comes together. Are you hearing me? Different polypeptide chain comes together to make what? A protein. I think I've mentioned another thing since. Now, let me repeat again from the very beginning.
Sorry, sir. What did you
Primary,
say? What did you say? Say
I want to recap everything now. Everybody should listen, okay? All of you should listen now.
okay,
Let
sir.
me
Thank
recap.
you.
But no problem. So first of all, proteins are made up of what? 20 amino acid. That's basic 20 amino acid. So each amino acid is linked by a polypeptide bond. So when you bring amino acids together and link them together by polypeptide bond, that's join them side by side, they form what is called polypeptide. Peptide there means what? Protein, amino acid. So they form what? Polypeptide. All right. So in primary protein, we have sequence of amino acid. It's just like bringing 10 children now, tell them to hold their hands side by side. That's each person should what? Form a straight line. A perfect example. Now, when you tell students, 10 of them, each person to form a straight line. When they form a straight line, you call that one primary what? Structure. Now, these 10 students, these 10 children, probably in primary school, is what stubborn headed. From my five are still listening. From my six, very soon they write common interest and they become big boys in JS1. They do not even understand that they still have 6 more years to enter university. That university is where life happens. But in the primary six, they will feel like they have arrived. So let's use from my five students for example now. So when you tell them to what, hold their hands on a neighbor shoulder straight, they will form what is called a primary protein. Peradventure, you now have two lines, one here, one the other side. When you tell each student, still use one of your hand though to hold your neighbor, the one in front of you. Now use your right hand to hold the other person by your what, right hand side. And then the two of them, I don't know how, if there is a bed now, I would have drawn something and shown you guys. Now one person will put one hand on the shoulder, person in front of him, just paint the picture in your mind, and use the other right hand to hold the hand of the next person in another line. I don't know, is picture making sense? So that is what is called a secondary
Yes, it
structure.
is.
To be specific, beautiful. To be specific, what you just formed now is what's called beta sheet. Beta sheet is what, when different what polypeptides what cross-link, forming what hydrogen bonding. Now let's take this a step higher to form our tertiary protein.
Sir, please increase your
Tertiary
volume a
structure.
little. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. No problem, no problem. So I was saying now, in tertiary structure, what we now have in tertiary structure is that the polypeptides now fold to acquire what, a specific shape. A quaternary structure is what, multiple polypeptide chain coming together to form a single unit. Example, you can write down the example: hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is what, hemoglobin what functions to carry oxygen. All right. So functions of protein.
Sir, sorry. Sir, please, sorry. See that it is sorry, there are what multiple words, sorry. Like the last thing that you said about number four, like
Comes
the
together
fourth structural
to
level.
form a single unit. Quaternary structure.
Yes.
There are multiple polypeptides that come together to form a single unit. Okay, so functions of protein. Thank you. Functions of protein. Proteins form enzymes. Proteins form enzymes. Something like what, your pepsin that digests proteins. So proteins form what, enzymes in the body. Also, they form structural support. Example, keratin and collagen. Keratin that you find in your what, nails, and what, collagen. Also, proteins perform transport function. Example, hemoglobin in your blood that what, to transport oxygen. Another one, proteins have what, defense function. They act as what, antibodies in your body. And the last one, they also form hormones. Example, insulin. Insulin is a hormone that regulates what, absorption of glucose in your what, body. Wow. And the last,
Please explain the tertiary 3D folding. I didn't understand it. Thank you.
all right. So what you should know in 3D folding is this. Okay. Now, 3D folding is what, the folding of a polypeptide into what, a three-dimensional shape. Write it like that. Now, tertiary structure is what, folding of a polypeptide chain into a 3D shape. That is a polypeptide chain that is what, linear. Now you make it what, fold together to acquire what, a shape. And this example of students that you tell to form a single line. When you tell that children, okay, I want these people to now come together, hold your hands in such a way that you now form a triangle. That triangle is what, a three-dimensional shape. Okay.
Okay, the D stands for dimensional. Eh? Hello, sir.
Exactly.
Hello?
So nucleic acid.
Does
Yes,
the
yes,
D
yes. I
stand
said
for
yes.
dimensional, please?
Yes, yes, yes. Three-dimensional shape. 3D. Yes, exactly. So nucleic acid. So there are two types of nucleic acid. They are DNA and RNA. So what are nucleic acid? Nucleic acid are what? Polymers of nucleotide that what functions in storing genetic information. Are you guys still with me? Nucleic acid, they do what? They basically form what? They store and they what responsible
Sir,
for
please
transmission
don't,
of
sorry,
genetic information.
excuse me. Don't be angry. Say they are polymers of what? Sorry.
Nucleotide.
Clear.
Alright, so you can continue, right, Ba?
No, sir, please. Say they
So
are polymers of. Sorry, don't be angry. I beg you, please.
they are polymers of nucleotide.
Okay.
Nucleotide is the building block of nucleic acid.
Yes, sir. I know that. So they are polymers of nucleotide that does what?
Nucleotide.
Okay,
Which
that does what? Sorry.
basically,
Hmm? I'm not
which
hearing.
basically do what? What did they do?
Okay. Now what they do is that they store and transmit genetic information in living organisms. They are what carries what? Genetic information. So types of nucleotide. There are two types of nucleotide. Number one, DNA. Number two, RNA. So now come down, write DNA. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid. And RNA means what? Ribonucleic acid. So DNA are what made up of deoxyribose sugar. Deoxy spelled DEOXY. Ribose is spelled RIBOSE. Everybody, please pay attention, okay? Pay attention. This last macromolecule, and it's a bit tricky. Now, deoxyribonucleic acid is made up of what? Three components. Number one is the sugar component. The sugar there is what? Deoxyribose sugar. The second component is a phosphate group. Just phosphate group. And the third component is what? Nitrogenous bases. Nitrogenous bases. Now you put bracket adenine, ADENINE, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Then you close bracket. Also, the DNA what appears in what has a double helix structure. The DNA has what? A double helix structure. Now let's go to RNA. Any question here?
Sir, it contains sugar, which is a deoxyribose sugar, nitrogenous base. The third one is what, sir?
Phosphate group.
Thank you, sir.
So RNA. Now RNA are single stranded. That is, it has just one single strand. And so does DNA about double stranded. So in RNA, what we have there is what? Three components as well. The sugar component is called ribose sugar. Then phosphate group, and then nitrogenous bases. Now, the nitrogenous bases of RNA and DNA are almost the same thing, except that there is no thymine, What you have in place of thymine there is what? Uracil. So let me call out the nitrogenous bases. We have adenine, uracil, cytosine, and what? Guanine. Adenine, uracil, cytosine, and guanine. Okay. All right. Let's go to the functions of nucleic acid. Any question here? Okay. So the image you have on the right is the what? DNA, which is double-stranded. So DNA stores and transmits genetic information. Please look at the slide, alright? So I won't repeat the information there. DNA stores and transmits genetic information. RNA what they do is what they transcribe and translate genetic information. So they what transcribe and translate the genes, that's the DNA, the information DNA stores. They now what translate and transcribe them into proteins. Then you now write types of RNA. You have messenger RNA, that's mRNA. You have transfer RNA, and then ribosomal RNA. Okay, so we are entering the second part of the class. By God's grace, this will be going very, very fast.
Please wait, don't like turn your slide, please.
Okay, please
Be angry.
screenshot it. Screenshot it. All right. Are you proceed now?
Yes, you can proceed. Sorry. Yes, we can.
All right. So I believe why we took much time is because for most of us that part was a new topic, right? So this is something you should know now. Introduction to diversity of living things. What is diversity? Diversity means different type, varieties, various types. So we are now looking at what? Various types of what? Diversities of life. Various types of what? Living things. Now, living things are so broad that if you want to, even for now, look at human beings alone. We are so broad now that to classify human beings, some are classified as what? Negroes, the ones that are black. Then
slide.
you are not seeing the new one.
Yes, I have not seen it.
Sorry for that. Are you seeing it now?
No, sir.
Then it should be your network.
Your network. Network is slow.
Okay, no problem. Let me try to get better now.
All right, but please listen carefully, okay? So, introduction to biodiversity. First of all, biodiversity is what? Variety of life on Earth. Now, animals are grouped by their similarities and by their what? Differences. So, since there are different types of life, there are what? Varieties. There are various types of animal. Imagine a scientist working in Nigeria is trying to explain something to a scientist living in America that have never been to Nigeria before, and then the one in Nigeria probably answering his glory is now telling the one in America probably answering Joshua, and he's telling Joshua, I saw an animal. The animal has 4 legs and has one very big head and a tail. Then Joshua in America will be like, I don't really understand that. What's the name of the animal? And then I am here telling him that it has 4 foot and all. There will be a lot of confusion. So
I can't see your
scientists now.
screen.
So due to this reason, complexity of life, due to various types of animal we have, so scientists decided to what? Classify animals. Now there is this young man called Robert White Whitaker, if I'm not, yes, Robert Whitaker. Whitaker is spelled WHI TTAKER. So Robert Whittaker in 1969, Robert Whittaker in 1969 devised a means. He now told other scientists, let us classify living things under 5 major classes. Let's classify living things under 5 major classes. Okay, so that's what we'll be heading to now. 5 kingdoms. So they said, okay, we'll classify them. Number 1 as what? Monera. Those with what? Now they looked at the animals. They were like, okay, every single animal that does not have a cell nucleus and does not have cell-bounded organelles, we now classify them as what? Monera. Example, bacteria. Said, okay, now some of them, okay, some of them also have what? A cell nucleus. Some of them also have what? Cell membrane bounded organelles. Then they looked at different other characteristics. They say, okay, some of them now have what? Some of them, since they have all these things, and in same essence, they have also a cell wall. They cannot even fit into any particular part. They say, okay, let's classify them under one class. Then now must did this, and we have 5 basic classes. Now, all we do in these few minutes is to what? Look at each classes, their characteristics. Okay. So we'll be starting with, and then their examples as well. We're starting with Kingdom Monera. So Kingdom Monera. What are Kingdom Monera? First of all, they are prokaryotic unicellular organism. Prokaryotic meaning what? They do not have what? A cell nucleus. Prokaryotic, if you have been in our classes, you know prokaryotes means what? Animals without what? A true nucleus. So first of all, they are what? Prokaryotics. They have no nucleus. Then how do they reproduce? They reproduce by what? Binary fission. That's they divide into 2 what? Identical daughter cell. Mode of nutrition, they can be autotrophs or heterotrophs. Example of autotroph is what? Cyanobacteria. So moving on to the next class, we have Kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista.
Sir, did you say they are heterotroph or autotroph? Mode of nutrition.
They are both. Mode of nutrition in the 2 of them, both autotrophs and heterotrophs. Kingdom Protista. So Kingdom Protista what? Eukaryotic organism, and they are what? Basically unicellular. They are typically what? Unicellular organisms. Their mode of nutrition is what? Autotroph. Example, algae. And they can also exhibit what? Heterotroph. That is, autotrophs means, auto means self. They can produce their food by their own self. Heterotrophs means they depend on other organisms for what? Food. Another characteristic you should add there is what? Reproduction. They reproduce primarily by what? Asexual means. They exhibit asexual reproduction, in bracket, binary fission. They can also exhibit sexual reproduction, then in bracket, conjugation. Kingdom fungi. A very happy guy. So fungi are what? Eukaryotic organisms. And they are mostly what? Multicellular. That is, they are mostly made up of what? Multiple what? Cells. Mind you, fungi, they don't form what's it called? They don't form tissues and organs. Okay. Even though they are multicellular organisms, these cells, they don't aggregate together to form what? True tissues and organs. Now, also, their cell wall, know this, their cell wall is made up of what? Chitin. their cell wall is made up of what? Chitin. Mode of nutrition, they what exhibit what? Absorptive what? Heterotroph. You can say they are what? Heterotrophs as well. So mode of nutrition, heterotroph. Reproduction is what? Asexual. Reproduction is asexual via what? Spores. So next one we have is what? Kingdom plantae. Kingdom plantae are what? Multicellular organisms, and they are also what? Eukaryotes. And they are most common organization of life we know, second to what? Animals. Examples include what? Flowering plants, trees, herbs. So they are what? Multicellular organisms, and they are what? Eukaryotes, because they have true what? Cells. They have cells with what? Juice. Also, one other particular thing about plants are what? They have cell wall. They have cell wall, and their cell wall is made up of what? Cellulose. Now, let me recap something. Cell wall of bacteria is made up of peptidoglycan. Cell wall of fungi is another animal that has cell wall. Cell wall of fungi is made up of what? Chitin. Now, cell wall of kingdom plantae is made up of what? Cellulose. Also, kingdom plantae, there are autotrophs. They can produce their own food. Why? Because they contain chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green coloring pigment in what? Their leaves that helps them to trap sunlight for photosynthesis. So you can say they are what? Autotrophs. Mode of yes, reproduction. They exhibit sexual reproduction. Now the last one we have here is what? Kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia. So also there are also what? Multicellular eukaryotic animal that do not have what? Cell walls. Please know this. Animals don't have cell walls. Plants have cell walls. So also they exhibit heterotrophic nutrition. They cannot produce their own food. So they depend on animals for food. Also, they are motile organisms. Now, at one stage or the other in their life, animals can move. Please, you can also note plants are sessile organisms. Sessile meaning they cannot what? Move. Sessile is spelled Sessile. They cannot move about. They are fixed in position. Animals are motile. They can move. So, the cells of animals can be organized into organs and what? Tissues. So practical activity, field observation.
So I can't see your screen again. Oh.
Are you seeing it now? Are you seeing the screen now?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Give me a minute. Let me stop sharing and share. I just entered what? Practical. Now everything you've been learning so far since this class is what? Theories. So in practical activity, this is where you now what? Show forth your what? You now put your knowledge of biology to test. You now enter the field to what? Observe different life forms. Now, when you observe them, you also what? Take notes as a scientist you are. So, practical activities. Number one, there is an objective. So the objective you can do here is just a little exercise you can perform. You can take identify what diverse of your environment. So that will be the goal of yours. Now, the objective is your what? Primary goal. So you can now enter your school field and you say, my goal now is to what? Know the organisms that are living here in this field. The materials you'll be using is what? Your notebook, your pencil, your camera, if need be, then a magnifying glass, a magnifier. So when you visit your procedure, visit a garden or a pond or anything nearby. Actually, this was practical we did. We entered the school. So they told us to what, take an area you want. Now when we reached an area, we mapped out that area, we measured it. So what we did there was what, basically to observe and recognize animals or organisms within that area. So after that, we now brought out you label it. Then you write down your findings. What are the observable, what are the animals of this area? What are the observable features of those animals? Let's say, okay, current yeah, at the time, I will look at how you get know in an area like a school field.
Excuse me, sir, I can't hear you.
Others, can you hear me?
Not clearly, sure.
Not clearly. Okay, hope it's not network. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, it's okay now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then it's network because my voice is not really changed much. All right, so I was saying in practical activity, what you basically do is to enter the field to what? Put your knowledge to test, identify living organisms living in an area mapped out. Now, depending on, you can now decide to what, find out what type of animal thrive best in an area just like this. Let's say you go to a pond, you want to identify which kind of animals would do best in a pond, in Nigerian pond with the hot weather and everything. You cannot just go to your school pond and find a shark, right? First of all, the habitat is not conducive for a shark to thrive there. So all these things are what activities you can what record. All right. I wish if this was a physical class, I would have given us one. I would have tested it out. So this is the end of our class. So far we've looked at biological molecules and we established that there are four basic biological molecules: carbohydrate, protein, lipid, and nucleic acid. Carbohydrates are what? Polymers. Carbohydrates are what? Made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in the ratio of
Carbons.
1:2. Sorry? So carbohydrates are made up of what? Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in the ratio 1:2:1. Carbohydrate has two classes, simple and complex. Now, under simple, we have monosaccharide and disaccharide. Under complex, we have what? Polysaccharide. Monosaccharide example, glucose, fructose, and what? Galactose. Under disaccharide, we have what? Sucrose. Sorry, we have what? Sucrose, sucrose, fructose, and what? Maltose. So now, second class, which is the complex carbohydrates, we have the polysaccharide, including cellulose, chitin, and then what? Starch. Then I told us that starch is the storage form of carbohydrates in what? Plants, whereas glycogen is the storage form of carbohydrates in what? Animals. Okay, so what other things did we cover? We entered proteins, and I told us that the monomers of protein is what? Amino acid. Amino acid links together using what? Peptide bond to form polypeptides. There are 4 levels of organization. Number 1 is what? The primary level. In the primary structure, it is just the what? Linear arrangement of what? Amino acid. In the secondary structure, it is what? The what? Association of what? Amino acid via what? Covalent bonding to form alpha helix and what? Beta what? Sheet. In tertiary structure is what? The folding of polypeptide chain into a three-dimensional shape. And lastly, the quaternary structure, it is what? Association of different polypeptides to form what? A functional protein unit. So also this night we touched on nucleic acid. And I told us there are 2 types of nucleic acid, the DNA and the what? RNA. So the DNA is double-stranded and has these 4 nitrogenous bases: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and what? Guanine. And told us that RNA has what? Is single-stranded and has adenine, uracil, guanine, and what? Um, sorry, guanine and what? Which one did I not mention? Okay, let me come again. Adenine, guanine, then
Uracil.
hello. Yes,
I
uracil.
said
Thank you very much.
uracil.
That's what I
Uracil.
missed.
Actually, had
Okay,
uracil.
so what else did we look at? We now entered what? You said uracil. Yes, yes, exactly. So please know this thing. 2 different things that differentiate RNA and there are 3 major differences between RNA and DNA. Number 1, DNA is double-stranded,
Double-stranded.
whereas whereas RNA is single-stranded.
Single-stranded.
Number 2, the DNA has deoxyribose sugar.
Deoxyribose, and the other one have ribose sugar.
Ribose sugar, exactly. Now, third one, the DNA has what? Cytosine and what? Thymine, sorry,
Cytosine
and the
and
other one has
it have
the other one has
uracil.
what? Uracil.
Uracil.
Exactly. So that will be the end of the class. Any question?